You ready?
Do you all read about this or hear this? That you used to go up on Mulholland Drive and park
every night.
and visualize seeing yourself as...
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. It's the boy, the Resident Black Spider-Man, Karabo Mzili. This is so cool. I haven't released an actual proper video on this channel in such a long time. I've been releasing obviously a lot of the film photo stuff, which has been really cool. I love making those videos. They're a lot of fun. Obviously taking the photos is just what I love to do and my passion. But yeah, I thought I would do something that was super contrarian, and I would do something that absolutely no one, literally no one, asked me to do. And that was to tell you guys my favorite things from 2022. And list, I was gonna do the most absurd thing on the planet, and that's to rank art. Something as subjective as ranking art. I just find so hilarious, but we do it anyway because it's a lot of fun, and it causes and creates a lot of argument and some cool discussion, because getting different perspectives is fun, and I guess it is nice to discuss these things that might be different, that might be the same. So I thought, let me just do what I saw a whole bunch of people doing, kind of add my own little spin on things. I'm not gonna do like my best moments and my worst moments. I just want to talk about what I found was really dope last year. Last year was an interesting year, definitely a ton of ups, really low lows, but like a lot of the ups just outweighed the lows. So it was a super good year. Met some great people, amazing people, did amazing stuff that I never even dreamed of being able to do. And as a whole, just, surrounded by incredible people and have amazing outlets like this to be able to do stuff. So thank you so much for rocking with me the whole year, to everyone who's been supporting not just this channel, but Art Dealers and Anthem and all my other millions of creative outlets. I really do appreciate it. And thanks to people who have supported me throughout the year and throughout the years. It's been absolutely incredible. So yeah, I thought I'd just jump in and title this My Favorites of 2022. And where else to start besides music? I mean, that's probably what most people have been ranking throughout the year. So my album of the year, this is an interesting one because there's probably a few albums which are like objectively really good. I'm not a big Taylor Swift fan, but maybe some people would say her album was very good. I heard really good reviews about it. A few bad albums that came out last year, which I'm not gonna be the guy to say they were good or bad. So the way I wanted to specifically rank this, or what I thought was the best, was to rank an album the feeling that I got out of it, like the biggest feeling. So I actually have two. One is probably the most obvious one. If you know me well enough, you know who my favorite artists are, and it had to be Mr. Morale and The Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar. This album, wow. First of all, the wait for it was unbearable. I mean, Damn came out 2017, I think? Yeah, 2017. Loved that. In fact, wasn't a big fan of that album when it first came out, but I just remember so many good memories around when that album came out. I remember we were at my friend Tyron's place. It was myself, Tyron, Caden, Jubs, just listening to the album, talking about it. And through the years, I just learned to absolutely adore that album. I think it's an absolute work of art. Pulitzer Prize winning album as well. First non-jazz or classical musician to win a Pulitzer Prize. So Kendrick is a legend. I don't care what any of you say. And this album I was so excited for when the Hot Pot 5 came out. It just reminded me of when the Hot Pot 4 came out. I was just like, I'm so excited for this album. This is going to be the best album ever. And that I just saw so many think pieces on that single by itself. Everything he was saying, there's a line in the song where he says, hurt people, but we call it culture. And I was just like, oh my word, Kendrick, you're talking to the entire universe right now. So I absolutely adore that album. Some favorite songs of that album. I loved United in Grief. Thought that was a beautiful song, talking about how we grieve different, but also just musically. I almost said as a musician. Please no, I'm not a musician. The drum groove on that is absolutely incredible. There's like a piano riff that kind of goes throughout the song, which is stunning. Man, Kendrick has got such a beautiful ear for production. Shout out to like Soundwave and Terrence Martin and all these guys who played on the album. I'm a bit of a nerd. I like to dig deep into these things. So like I said, United in Grief was a beautiful, beautiful song. I love the song Savior. brilliant song. I think that song is unreal. And then the song Mirror, I thought that was and it's interesting because it's like the first song, the middle, and then like the last song. So that was quite cool that they all kind of have that balance to it. The second album, which I really loved, maybe a lot of people may not be onto this because it came out, I want to say like the last 2 weeks of December, or maybe the first week of December, but it's a very, very new album, Dreamy Eyes by River Tiber. So if you, again, are like a good friend of mine, River Tiber's first album, Indigo, came out in 2016. And I remember, again, I had so many good memories too around the time this came out. Myself, my friend Jordan, Toomey, Daniel, we always used to listen to this album. It was just such a beautiful, beautiful album. There's a song called Acid Trip off that album, which the music video for it, if you ever have time to watch it, is so like trippy, hence the name of the song, but it's incredible. He does like this really cool vocal effect on his vocals when he sings. He's got quite a deep voice, like naturally, but he pitches it like really, really high, but it's not like auto-tuney. It's very interesting. So when I saw he released this, I immediately started listening. I was like, this is incredible, because it just reminded me of that time, and I attached so many feelings towards this particular album. Musically, it's fantastic. It's really, really good. I've probably listened to it in full like 4 or 5 times now. There's a song called Hypnotized, which is actually an older single, came out at the beginning of 2022 or maybe end of 21, which I still love. I think that's a brilliant song. I'll probably play a snippet of it now. As you heard, beautiful, beautiful song. So that's my albums of the year. I hope. Also, this is maybe I'll do this. A disappointing album. I remember telling my friend Joel about this. I was like, this man is going to drop the album of the year, because when he released the single, it's called "Stay With Me" by Calvin Harris. Because Funk Wave Volume 2 was releasing. Funk Wave Volume 1, Funk Wave Bounce Volume 1, I can't remember what the name is. I'm such a big fan of that album. And I was like, he's gonna do it again. I mean, this Scottish DJ is gonna release some of the greatest hip hop and R&B songs ever, because that first album is unreal. The song Slide with Frank Ocean and the Migos is one of the best songs ever. And I was like, he's gonna do it again. I really love that single "Stay With Me" with Halsey, Justin Timberlake, and Pharrell. And I remember telling Joel when I was at the office, when I used to work with him, I was like, this is gonna be the album of the year. And the album came out and it wasn't. Super disappointing. It just felt very samey. So that's my disappointment of the year, if I had one. Best movie, the movie of the year. Again, I think ranking these things is quite difficult, because I think everyone has different tastes when it comes to watching movies. I'm someone who is quite a big movie fan, but I'm also a very emotive fan when it comes to just stuff in general. So like I said, I attach a lot of feeling. How did it make me feel? So there's 2 movies in particular, just because it reminded me of the times I watched the original film. And yeah, so Avatar 2 and Black Panther 2, I really enjoyed those movies. I thought they were, I mean, if I had any critique for either or, especially Avatar 2, it's very long. It's a flipping long movie. It's like 3 hours and 15 minutes, but the pacing is sensational. Like, it doesn't feel like the movie is that long. Black Panther 2, because I was so attached to R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, I immediately approached the movie quite negatively. So I was like, this is not going to be better than the first movie. Chadwick is not in it. I'm not interested. But I really enjoyed it. The soundtrack was amazing. Ludwig Göransson did the score. Again, the song selection was brilliant for each scene. I thought the acting was amazing. It's a Marvel movie, so it's a superhero film, so I don't really rank superhero films on like the same par as like a movie like, I don't know, like a Shawshank Redemption or something. I'll never say they're that high ranked or high rated, but it was a very good film, and it was probably the one I enjoyed the most. Another honorable mention is Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that's what the name is. I think that's universally acclaimed as the best film of 2022, and I'm totally happy to agree with that. I just think these 2 films, I attached a lot of emotion to how the first movie made me feel, and I thought they were really good. Avatar 2, like I said, really long, but visually absolutely stunning. I really enjoyed the story. I loved how some of the younger characters actually led the story. It really carried the film. There's the ending, like the last like action scene reminded me a lot about Endgame. Like the emotion that I felt, it was really, really good. And it was just really like huge and cinematic and just beautiful. Like it's a stunning, stunning movie. Shout out to James Cameron for that one. This one is a weird one, like favorite day or favorite. I wanted to kind of talk about that, but because I think I did have like a period of the year which was just my absolute favorite, and that was probably in March when I went down to Cape Town for like 2 weeks. Initially, why I went down was just to house sit for a friend, so free accommodation for like 10 days basically. I was like chilling, got to hang out with friends like every single day. It was a vibe. And then while I was down in Cape Town, I got a call from my good friend Nick to assist on a Lexus commercial. And I probably speak about this all the time, but that was like a dream come true for me. And he called me and he knew I was down, so it just worked out well with our schedules. However, this was the same time where Kulula Airways just decided to just disappear, or they got shut down. So tickets skyrocketed, and I didn't have a ticket back home, back to Joburg. So it was a bit stressful getting back, but I managed to find a flight, and that was like the only bummer from that whole period. But that whole like 2-week period, just to be out of Joburg for that time. I'm not like the most. I love Joburg. I'm from Joburg, so it's my hood. But it is nice to get out of town a bit, get away from like the hustle and bustle. I was still working down there, which was nice just to work in a different environment. So that was very cool. But that whole period was splendid. It really was. Worst days, I thought, in contrast to having a good period, I think it's also nice to have a balance and just kind of reflect on these things. The worst day or the worst period of the year, funny enough, was like just after my birthday. Again, I went down to Cape Town for my birthday, had an amazing time, and then right after that, got home, and it was just a shambles after that. Like work was, anyway, the work was work. No longer at that company. Just some other stuff went down, a bit of betrayal and a bit of like just trust being broken. It was just not fun, and yeah. Anyway, I don't want to divulge too much into that because it's stupid. But anyway, my favorite photo on film that I took. This one I think is pretty straightforward, and it's surely my best one. I'll have it up as I have with everything. It's this one, the fourth floor. I took this on, excuse me, I took this on Ector 100, Pentax K1000 camera. And I mean, come on, look at it. The composition is beautiful. It is surely the best photo. I probably took better photos, especially on film this year. But this photo is just like, it's so pretty and it's beautiful. I think I took that photo like roughly the morning, maybe like 9 or 10 in the morning. That was in the East Rand where my previous office was. And it just, yeah, I didn't do, I mean, Ector 100 ISO, 100 box speed film. So I did shoot a couple stops up, and I love like, has like this kind of reddish brown, I don't want to say filter, but like feel that comes out of it. It's not warm though. It's like, it's quite moody, which I really like. And it's probably my best photo, or my favorite that I took on film last year. I probably took technically better ones, but yeah, this is my favorite one. My favorite photo on digital, I don't know what's the equivalent, but this one I had 4. There was a few that I couldn't decide. So my number one love is landscape photography. Funny enough, I don't like shooting people. It's just not a thing that I enjoy doing. But this year I took probably more photos of people than I have like in my whole life. But this photo of Cape Town, I titled it Sea Point because I was on the promenade. I love it. I even framed it. I printed it and framed it. It's in my room. I gave it to my cousin as a gift as well, or I don't think she has it yet, but it's coming. I love this photo. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, it's I was walking during like golden hour, so I love like the warmth of it. I took this on an A6600 Sony, like a little beast of a camera, small little compact camera, but really, really good. I think 24-70 lens, and just love it, honestly. My other one, probably like objectively the best photo that I took this year was, or the shoot that I did was with Anazar Omar, when she was, we were doing some campaign stuff and some work for some of her sponsors for Miss South Africa. She was in the top 10 last year, so shout out to her. She is like wonderful to work with. I love working with professionals, people who are just super comfortable in front of the camera, who require very little direction. She was great to shoot. Every single time we shot stuff, she was amazing. And I just loved the shoot. Everything about that day was just really, really cool. Funny enough, like one of the first times like I've been like the lead photographer on like a studio shoot. Shout out to Finn Studio for the location, Denver and Kelly, Untold Creatives for their help, Jason Haji as well for lighting help. My friends who all pulled through just to be there for support. It was great. Like it was such a fun day, and this was probably my favorite photo from the whole shoot. It was really cool. But my actual favorite photo that I think I took this year was this one of Joel, him covering his face. Joel Campers, incredible musician and animator. I love this photo. I mean, took this on a same camera I used for the shoot with Zadie, 35mm Sigma on a Sony a7 III. Yeah, I mean, I love this photo. Like, it's so beautiful. I love the depth of field. I love him in the photo. The framing is just the colors. Yeah, this is probably my favorite photo, my best photo ever. I even put it up for sale on Unsplash, which has been doing really well. So shout out for that. I guess I was gonna say shout out to me, but that's so stupid. Shout out to Joel. Yeah, I love this photo. I really do. And then the last one, this one is just like an honorable mention. I just really dig it. I called it TED Talks because I was shooting at a TEDx Johannesburg shoot at the Alex Theatre. Shout out to the Alex Theatre in Bryanston. And yeah, this was on this camera that is recording me now, the Lumix S1. It reminds me of like something you'd see in like Grand Central in New York City. Like the people are out of focus. I love the black and white. I'm really wanting to shoot more black and white photos as well. And yeah, this is really cool. I really just love this photo. So that's my photos. Favorite book that I read this year, kind of got back into my bag when it came to reading. Did a lot of audiobooks, read a few physical as well, but my favorite was the book Will by Will Smith. I know it's probably not the cool thing to say anymore, considering what happened with everything with Will Smith this year, but listen, I don't cancel people for like no reason. The man was going through some stuff, and obviously don't condone violence or anything like that, but whatever. Like, I'm not the judge of people. But I really loved the book. It was such a raw encyclopedia into his life, if you will. I've been a big fan of his son Jaden since I was like in high school, and even just for him to talk about like his family life. There's a particular story which I found like quite heartbreaking, but also just quite enlightening to his personality. He was talking with his daughter back when Whip My Hair came out, when that Willow song was very, very popular, and they were on tour, it was going well, you know. He was like saying to her, yo, we're gonna go perform with Jay-Z and this and that. She didn't want to. She was a child. She was like, I think like 10 years old at the time, and she was like, nah, I'm tired, I want to go home. And then the next day she like shaved her head, like gone, braids gone, everything. And I was like, at that moment he like realized that he was like pushing his kids too much. And I thought that was just such a quite a beautiful and honest story. Obviously there's a lot more, and their whole relationship probably has now been shown to not be so, I don't know, so beautiful as we thought, but that's life, I guess. But it's a beautiful book. I really recommend it. I read a few others, the Four Loves by C.S. Lewis, beautiful love. The Power of Pain, beautiful book, sorry, The Power of Pain by C.S. Lewis as well. Beautiful, beautiful read. So yeah, those are older books. They didn't come out last year or the few years ago, but they're ones that I read. This one, I was like, favorite video game. I didn't really play anything that was new, but the Miles Morales game, Spider-Man, of course, that had to be. I only played it for the first time last year, and I really enjoyed it. It's really all I have to say. It's a fire game. I've been playing God of War Ragnarok, which is probably the best game ever. Honestly, it's so good. But yeah, like I said, I attach a lot of emotion to to this stuff, and I'm a big Spider-Man fan, so I'm just going to say that because it was my personal favorite. This one, I wanted to end with this one, but I'll just quickly just move stuff around. Favorite podcasts? There's a few. There's 3 that I like. I'm a big fan of like cars and stuff like that. So Behind the Glass by Seen Through Glass, really, really funny and insightful automotive podcast, which I thought was really cool. If you're big into F1 I think it's called F1 Beyond the Grid. It's a really good podcast. I forgot who hosted it. Is it Tom Clarkson? I think so. Tom Clarkson, I think he hosted. So yeah, amazing interviews. Like I said, if you're a big fan of F1, it's probably the number one that I would recommend personally. And a new one that I found, relatively recently, I don't know if it came out or started last year, but I only found it last year, is Corner of Jutta and De Beer, hosted by Lwazi. Apologies for the battery dying. As you can see, ran into a couple of technical issues, but these things happen with content creation. But yeah, if you've made it this far, thanks again for watching. But yeah, as I was saying, continuing through with some of my podcast recommendations. As I mentioned, I was talking about F1 Beyond the Grid, hosted by Tom Clarkson. If you're a big F1 fan, it is most definitely a worthy listen. I'm a huge fan of it. I really, really enjoy it. Highly recommend. And a relatively new podcast that I found, as mentioned, Corner of Jutta and De Beer, hosted by Lwazi Madonsela. I don't necessarily know if this came out last year in particular, but I only found it last year, and it's been just an absolute joy to listen to. Really, really fun, and really, really great interviews. Funny ones as well. That's the word I was trying to say. And just really, really, really enjoy them. Highly recommend. By the way, we'll be leaving all these podcast recommendations down in the description below. And finally, probably the best podcast on the planet, really, and that's the Art Dealers. My joke, of course, but I'll always rep the team. But yeah, the Art Dealers, one of those platforms and the brand that has served me so well over the years. And even though we haven't released much content in a while, some of the older episodes are really, really great, and I mean that in the most humble way. The voicemails episodes where we got people to send through voice notes answering like really deep questions like, do you believe in soulmates? What are your green flags, red flags? What's one thing you would change in the world? How do you express your identity? Some amazing topics that the community contributed to, which I absolutely love those episodes. Don't Disturb the Peace is a great episode. If you've never listened to Art Dealers, that's a good one, where myself and Tumi spoke about relationships. Really funny, but also super informative. One called Influences, where we spoke just about how the culture influences people in a positive and negative way. That's a bit of an older episode, but really, really good. I can honestly go on. If you haven't listened to Art Dealers before, I highly recommend. And finally, I guess I wanted to end with, I know this is kind of a strange one, but it's the best quote, my favorite quote that I heard all year. This is from a poem from W.H. Auden from, I want to say, like the early 60s maybe. It was from a bigger poem, but this particular line in the poem just really, it found me at a time when I was really going through a lot and not in the greatest space, and it really just opened my eyes and kind of gave me a different perspective on love. And the quote goes like this: if equal affection cannot be, then let the more loving one be me. And I read a commentary on this particular poem, and it was basically saying how in life, when you're in a relationship with someone or you with someone, because we can't read people's minds, we never know for absolute certainty if everything this person tells us about them loving us is for real. Like, we'll never know, because people can just say, no, I love you, to make us feel good, But what the poem is, and what this quote was saying, is we need to not focus on that, but just know and be secure in the fact that we love that person, that be secure in our love for that person. And I just thought it was such a beautiful way and a beautiful perspective on love. It even touched on loving someone in order to let them go, and not just in a relationship sense, but with grieving. We again not holding on to the fact that we may not know for absolute certainty if this person loves us, but being secure in the fact that we loved this person, so we can let them go. I thought it was absolutely beautiful, and definitely my quote of the year. But yeah, guys, that's me. It's your Resin Black Spider-Man Karabo Mdluli again. Apologies for the technical difficulties, but these things happen. But thanks so much for listening, for watching. We'll definitely be trying to release content on a more regular basis, not just here on my channel, but Art Dealers, Anthem, This Modern Love, producing for other people, helping to, taking photos. So yeah, this is going to be a good year. Hopefully a big year for me from a content creation point of view. And I really do support every single one of you supporting me in any way, shape or form. Even if it's just liking, subscribing, sharing, it really does mean the world to me. And I really do appreciate it. But it is, it's the boy, it's the Resin Black Spider-Man Karabo Mdluli. See you guys soon. Peace out.